beautiful friend, and huge welcome to you. This is the Signature Style Blueprint Masterclass inside of Debbie's amazing Switch Retreat. We are looking at our vision for what's ahead. We are factoring in the role of the signature style. We are factoring in the role of representation of self and the tremendous impact this work has on everything that we are doing with Debbie. I am so excited to be here with you. I am so grateful to Debbie. Debbie is somebody I love very much. I know everybody who's listening to me will feel the exact same way as I feel. Debbie is somebody to me who, when she asked me to when she asked me to do this training or come speak with you, my answer to her, I didn't even know exactly what it would be. Neither of us did. My answer to her immediately, a voice note back, was just a resounding yes, because Debbie is somebody to me that just the vision, her personal philosophy, everything she teaches about, everything she talks about, everything she stands for as a human being is so aligned with my own personal philosophy, everything that I teach, everything that I stand for. And so my answer to her was, I don't even know what we're going to do, but I'm totally there. Yes, count me in. I also know that like attracts like. I also know that that which is likened to itself is drawn, which means that if Debbie has gathered you here, it's because you are somebody who is similar to her, which means you are equally as amazing, which means you are my kind of person, and I cannot wait to meet you. It is for that reason that I'm so very excited. I should not be doing this super long introduction because I have so much information that I want to be able to give you today. But I cannot wait to meet you, is essentially what I am trying to say. I'm really excited to be able to teach you everything that we're going to talk about today. Hopefully, I will be able to do it in a succinct fashion, which I have not demonstrated so far. But I think we're going to have a really amazing time together. My name is Jordan. I am a personal stylist. I have been a personal stylist for just a few months shy of 15 years. I spent the first 10 years of my career in the entertainment industry, kind of all over the place, everywhere from celebrity styling to red carpet styling, film, television, editorial, commercial styling, music videos, anything that fell under the umbrella of the entertainment industry. I also started my business at that time. Prior to COVID, it was a concierge personal shopping business, which is actually where I met Debbie many years ago. And then for the last 5 years, it has been almost exclusively focused on teaching and education in a really similar format that we're going to walk through today. Teaching women how to hone in on what their signature style is, and then how to learn how to do everything that I have learned how to do in my career for themselves so that they are able to act as their own personal stylist without the help of anybody else doing it for them, so that they are able to do it themselves. We do all of this work. Oh, sorry if I'm knocking my microphone and you can hear me, that probably doesn't sound good. I apologize. We do all of this work inside of a beautiful community called Unlock Your Signature Style. There are women in there from all different parts of the world. There are women in there from all different walks of life. All career paths are in there. All ages are in there. We have women in there from their early 30s all the way up to their late 70s. We have all bodies in there. We have all different types of style in there, all coming together with the sole purpose or the sole understanding of the seriousness of the conversation that we're about to have today, in the impact it has on their lives when they know how to represent themselves as the woman that they want to be seen as. I am going to begin to introduce you to some of the Unlock Your Signature Style concepts today so that you are able to begin taking action on them immediately. You can start implementing them immediately. Um, and also that so that you can just sit with it and digest it. USS Unlock Your Signature Style is taught at, and I've designed it this way on purpose, is taught at the highest level of my industry, of the style industry. Uh, we have conversations that aren't had elsewhere. The conversation that we are about to have today, I will hazard a guess that you have never had it before. It is for that reason. I wanted you to be able to have this training ahead of time so that you could sit with it, digest it, think about what we are going to talk about today, implement the work that I am going to give you at the end, but just really let it percolate so that when I see you at the retreat, I'm not going to teach you anything there. I won't be doing a long winded speech like I am doing right now. We're just going to sit together. We're going to answer questions. We're going to talk about what we've learned today. Going to have a beautiful time coming together, and I'm very, very excited for that. Inside our training today, what we are not going to be doing and what we are never doing in my world is what I call like a conventional approach to style training. The kind of style training that customarily we would find maybe in a YouTube video or on Instagram. We're not going to find any kind of training around like this is what you should do and this is you're not going to find a rules based approach to fashion, let's call it that. You're not going to find it. This is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't. This is what you should wear and this is what you shouldn't. This is what's in style right now. This is what's going out. And if you're doing that, it's time to throw it away because it looks terrible. We're not going to be doing any of that. We won't be doing a what I call a one size fits all approach to fashion, where we operate off of the assumption that we all should dress the same way. And if we all dress the same way, we're all going to look amazing and we're going to be so successful and everyone's going to compliment us on our outfits. We're not doing any of that. What we are going to do, and what is at the basis of everything that I teach, is figuring out how you want to feel and what it is you want to convey, the message you want to send, the story you want to tell through the way you represent yourself, which, yes, definitely includes your style, it includes your clothing, but it includes so much else as well that we're going to talk about inside of this training. Your representation of self is one of, if not the easiest success tools you have available to you right now. If all success tools were sitting on a table that you were able, where you were able to grab them and pick them up. If we were to imagine, what I mean by easiest is something that will allow you to cause change the fastest. Like if, let's imagine we have all these success tools on a table sitting in front of us that we can access. They're going to cause success in our career. They're going to cause success in our business. They're going to cause success in our personal life. We can pick up one that says, what does it say? It says really good at closing sales. And we can pick up one that says really good at getting to the point. I have clearly not picked that one up. I need to get better at that one. We can pick up one that says really succinct in the way we speak. And we can pick up one that says really good public speaker. And we can pick up one that says really engaging storyteller. And we can pick up one that says really great at networking. And then we can pick up one that says really powerful representation of self that makes me feel the way that I want to feel within my physical body. The reason that I called the last one the easiest one is because it is the one of all the ones that I just mentioned and any other tools that may be sitting on that table, it is the one that we can cause change in the fastest. You're going to be able to watch this training and cause change with that tool today. You could decide to pick up that tool and cause dramatic change by the end of this week using what's hanging in your closet right now. Like, I'm not talking about winning the lottery and going on a shopping spree. I'm talking about using what you already have. And yet, for a lot of people, this will be some people listening to me. This is either, and that's okay, never saying that from judgment. This is either a tool that they are not using and flat out dismissing. They will have heard me say, oh, that tool on being good at closing sales, give me that one. Or that tool on being a good public speaker, yep, give me that one. That tool on being good at networking, yep, I want that tool. That tool on having a conversation around the way that I dress or how I represent myself or the way that I look, I'm going to stop you there. That's not a tool I'm interested in. That's what it looks like to flat out dismiss it. For most of us, we're going to understand that this is a tool but we're not utilizing it to the full extent of its ability. We're not leveraging it. And leveraging it is something that I want for all of us. It is the purpose of this entire training. When leveraged, this is a tool that will support you in opening yourself up to more opportunities, getting in front of more people. Those two things, more opportunities. So the camera's backwards, so I can't tell what fits in this tiny little circle. More opportunities and getting in front of more people, in my mind, equates to making more money. More opportunities and more people means more students, more clients, more customers, more people coming in. Business is growing. I'm making more money. It means improving your confidence. It means commanding more authority, more certainty. It means showing up for yourself. It's like, I want to feel amazing within myself. I'm showing up for myself to figure out how to do it. It means showing up for yourself, and it means feeling exponentially better within your physical body. I could literally probably list 10 similar slides with more benefits on it. We do not have enough time for that or enough space for that, but we can all start to understand what happens when this is something that we leverage. And yet, you get to decide if this is one of the tools on that table you pick up, or you get to decide if you dismiss it. You get to decide if you're going to be, or you're going to say rather, what a lot of women say, which is that, well, my intelligence should be enough. My intellect should be enough. I've been in this industry for 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. That should be enough. My experience should be enough. My resume should be enough. The work that I've done for people should be enough. The results that I've gotten them should be enough. You can say that. And you can say, those things should be enough. And so I decide to leave that tool on the table. Or you can say, you better believe all those things are enough. And still, I am a smart woman. And so I pick up any tool that is at my disposal. You better believe I'm picking up this one. At no point in time are you going to hear me make the case to you that it's how you look that has created your success in your career, or it's how you look that has gotten you into rooms. I'm never going to say it's how stylish you are that has built your business. I have a style business, and I don't think it's how stylish I am that has built my business. I'm never going to make that case to you. But what you will hear me say time and time again is that it's how you feel about the way that you look, that it's how you feel about the way that you represent yourself that influences the way you operate when you're in those rooms, and the way you operate when you're in those rooms is what's creating your opportunities. It's what's getting more people to notice you. It's getting more eyeballs on you. It's leading to all of it. So you get to decide if this is a tool you pick up, or you get to decide if it's a tool that you flat out dismiss. There was a woman that I worked with many years ago, and this for her was a tool that she was not only not leveraging, just flat out dismissing. She was the CEO of one of the largest financial firms here in Los Angeles. She still is. She had shattered every glass ceiling. She was in obviously a male dominated industry. She had shattered every glass ceiling, and she did not care at all about style. In fact, having a conversation like this was what she would feel was insulting to her. She went every day into her office in, I'm almost laughing at the pairing of what she did, and it sounds like I'm saying it from judgment, but we went on to shift it. So I loved her so much, so I'm certainly not saying this from judgment. But she went into work every day with this strange pairing that she felt very comfortable in, which was on the bottom, trouser pants, and on the top, she loved Under Armour. So she wore Under Armour, like an Under Armour athletic zip-up jacket, or an Under Armour pullover long sleeve athletic top, or an Under Armour polo, like a short sleeve polo top, and that's what she wore. Did she feel incredible in that? No. Was it fine? Yes. The only reason our paths ever crossed was because she was set to attend a meeting at the White House. She was going to be attending a meeting at the White House with the then president, not our current president, with the then president. It was going to be her, the president, Bill Gates, and a small group of other people of a similar nature. Less than 10 total. She was going to be the only woman there, only woman invited to attend that meeting. And she was aware that the Under Armour situation was not going to cut it. And she was also aware that the way she felt in her representation of self wasn't what she wanted to feel when she went into something like that. But she resented the fact that she would have to have a conversation about it. And so I reframed it for her by saying, but you do realize that Bill Gates has a stylist, right? You do realize that Bill Gates is doing this work. Not only does that man have a stylist, but that man has a department within his company. They have a, what is it called? The term has slipped my mind. They have a particular term that they use within his company. Let's call it a wardrobe department. I can't remember what they call it. That man has a wardrobe department within his company that handles clothing and styling. And I would hazard a guess with almost 99% certainty that all of those other men that are going to be in that meeting with you, I don't know who they are. She didn't tell me who they are, so that's why I couldn't say with 100% certainty. But I would hazard a guess that all of those other men in that meeting with you are doing this work as well. Why? Are these men who is Bill Gates a man who strikes you as somebody who is trying to be known for his fashion sense? Who's trying to look a certain way? He's trying to be a fashion influencer? Does he strike you as that? No. Why would men like that be doing this type of work? Because they see a tool that's sitting on the table and they are going to pick it up because they understand the power of feeling as good as they possibly can within themselves. And saying that to her, and the reason I'm saying it to you as well is not to pitch you to start using a stylist. That's absolutely not the case. Anyone who's listening to me does not need a stylist. They can learn how to be their own stylist. Not why I'm saying that. The reason I said that to her is because it gave her permission to understand that the conversation was not about her being a woman and so having to look a certain way or meet a certain standard in order to go to a meeting of that level. That gave her permission to understand that this is a tool that I am going to pick up. And when she picked up that tool, we went on to create multiple looks for her to go on that trip, to go to DC, to go to that meeting, to do whatever else she needed to do there. We went on to overhaul her entire wardrobe so that the Under Armour situation was no longer a thing. But we went on to put looks together for her to feel like a powerhouse in when she went to that meeting. Was the work about making her look a certain way in order to get into that room? Was the work about making her beautiful enough or getting her to adhere to a certain societal, I can't speak, societal standard in order to be welcome into that room? Was that the work? Or did she get herself into that room on her own accord? Obviously, the work was influencing the way she felt about herself, which would influence the way she operated in that room, making her feel more powerful. That is the work. So she got to see that doing something like this, thinking about her representation of self, thinking about the way that she was dressed, did not in any way detract from her intellect. It didn't detract from all of the work that she had done throughout her career, but it impacted the way that she felt within her representation of self. Too many of us are holding on to, as women, not men. Men are so open to this conversation throughout my entire career. I would say maybe 60 to 70% of my client base has been men. Men are so open to this conversation. Too many of us, and rightfully so, as women, are holding on to a false premise that a conversation around representation of self is a conversation we don't want to have because we feel that it's about other people. We feel like it's about meeting societal standards. We feel like it's about meeting beauty standards. We feel like it's about doing what the style industry tells us that we need to do. We feel like it's about having to look a certain way to get a certain place, and it's not that at all. The conversation is about the impact on self. Will the work impact other people as a byproduct? Of course. Will the work impact other people as a ripple effect of you feeling better within yourself? Of course, but it's not the motive. It's not the motive for Bill Gates to have a wardrobe department within his company and a stylist. There's a stylist that goes everywhere with Bill Gates. There's multiple shoppers based in like headquarters based within his company that don't travel with him. A stylist traveling with him, and there's somebody else handling logistical stuff. I would imagine it's like the ins and outs of orders and returns. Bill Gates doesn't have that in order to say, world, what do you want from me? I'm going to try to meet your standards. Bill Gates has that because he understands the impact on self. If we think of somebody like she's another example I love to use. If we think of somebody like a Layla Hermosi, I would imagine everybody who's listening to me knows Layla Hermosi and is familiar with her professional journey. If we look at the professional journey of somebody like a Layla Hermosi, we see this very strong demarcation or delineation in her journey where all of a sudden she decides to take representation of self, and she's very vocal about this, to take representation of self seriously. Is that what made her successful? Or was she successful before that? Or was the decision to take this seriously a recognition that there was a tool sitting on a table in front of her, and you better believe she was going to pick it up? That's the work. That's what we're building for ourselves. That's the reason we're here. So, with that, I want us to begin to look at where it is that we're going, begin to look at what this end goal is. I've already said multiple times the term signature style. I want us to look at what is this place that we're going to, and then how do we start to implement it or take action on it so we can bring it to life. Signature style, what does it mean? It's defined as one cohesive, identifiable look that tells one story of one woman externally representing her internal self. One cohesive, identifiable look that tells one story of one woman externally representing her internal self. We can all think of somebody who we feel in our mind fits this description. Could be celebrity, that's the easiest one. Could be celebrity, influencer, politician, could be a friend, could be a coworker, could be a client. It's somebody who, every time you see them, no matter where they are, you see them speaking on a stage, you see them picking their kids up at school, you see them on a date night with their husband, you see them on vacation in a different country, no matter where you see this person, whatever they're wearing, even if it's clothes you've never seen them wear before, even if it's in an environment you've never seen them in before, it elicits a feeling within you of, that's so her. That is so her. She is so known for that. Even if it's not, this is a key point, even if it's not your style, like if you're trying to find an example in your mind of somebody, and I encourage you to see if you can, even if it's not your style, like you, it's not the way that you would want to present yourself, you look to this person and you see, that is so, that is so her. I've never seen her really casual before, but of course she would wear that. She's so known for representing herself that way. For me, the example that I have always used in my teaching career, there's only been one. Any masterclass of mine you watch for the last 5 years, I've always used the same example. There is, to me, nobody's ever been able to give me an example that's stronger than this one. Maybe you will be able to when I see you on our live call at the retreat. Maybe you will have thought of somebody better. To me, the person that exemplified this definition the best was Diane Keaton. One cohesive, identifiable look that tells one story of one woman. Boom. Diane Keaton. Last month, when she passed, we did an honorary masterclass inside of Unlock Your Signature Style. It was called The Art of the Signature Style, and we really looked at the, the work that she did and a celebration of everything that she did around style and representation of self and the cohesion in the way that she presented herself. Best example I can think of, Jennifer Aniston, another really good example. If we want to, let's say we look to Diane, and for a lot of people, the style of Diane, we can appreciate it, but for a lot of people, it may not be our particular style. It's very unique and different, so we can appreciate it for matching the definition. It may not be ours. So if we think of somebody like a Jennifer Aniston, much more casual, much more of like an everyday kind of look, fits the bill perfectly. One cohesive, identifiable look. It tells one story of one woman. Jennifer Aniston shows us that we don't have to have this is a erroneous belief that a lot of women hold. I would have to have a really fancy lifestyle in order to have a signature style. And because I'm a stay-at-home mom, or because I'm always going to the school to do stuff with my kids, or just because I work at home and things are really casual for me, I only like wearing jeans and sneakers. Jennifer Aniston, 90% of the time we see that woman, jeans and tennis shoes. But that other 10% of the time, we see her going to the SAG Awards, or we see her going to the Emmys. We see her doing press junket for the morning show. She has to dress up. Does the style change? Does the one cohesive, identifiable look that tells one story, does she all of a sudden have to dress up and turn into somebody? Does she turn into Reese Witherspoon? This is a feeling that's common amongst a lot of women. Yeah, oh my goodness, my lifestyle is so casual, and now I have to dress up to go speak on a stage, or now I have to dress up to go to this fancy thing, and all of a sudden I feel paralyzed because I don't know what to do here. You're not becoming a new person. The signature style tells one story of one woman. When we see Jennifer Aniston go to the Oscars, she tells the story of Jennifer Aniston. She doesn't start telling the story of Tracy Ellis Ross, one of my favorite style icons. Tracy Ellis Ross, she didn't turn into somebody else because she's doing something fancy. She consistently tells the story of Jennifer Aniston, does she not? So when we're talking about a signature style and when we're looking at what we're building for you, the consistency piece, or the cohesion piece, the singular story piece, is a main focus of what we're working on. In order for it to be the external representation of the internal self, it has to be rooted in authenticity. It has to be rooted in what makes you you. It has to be rooted in your personality, your preferences, who you are as a person, what you like, what makes you tick, your skill set, your intelligence. It has to be rooted in what makes you you in order to feel like you when you put it on your body. If we want to be able to tell one story with longevity, like Jennifer Aniston has told one story with longevity. Her style has evolved. If we look back on like the Rachel Green era, her style has evolved, but she's always told the same story. Diane Keaton, that masterclass, a tiny aside, that masterclass that I mentioned a moment ago about Diane Keaton, if you are somebody who's really serious about figuring out your signature style, send me an email. I'll give you my email at the very end. Send me an email and I'll send you the link to that Diane Keaton masterclass. That was one of the best masterclasses I think that we've had in a very long time. I highly encourage, we take apart how she did that signature style. I will send that to you if you want it. Diane Keaton. If we're talking longevity in a story, that story was consistent since day one. Did the style evolve? Yes. Did it change? Sort of. Is it rooted in authenticity? Is it the external representation of the internal self? If it is not rooted in what makes you you, meaning you're trying to copy somebody else, you're trying to do what other people are doing, you think that you need to adhere to the style industry told you this is in style, so you have to dress that way, or everyone in my industry dresses this way, I guess I have to do that. If you are trying to build a style on a rocky foundation like that, it will have no longevity. because you won't be able to maintain it. It's not you. You can't maintain something that's not you, and you won't be able to replicate it. So you see one outfit, maybe you can do that. You go into a store and you buy something off a mannequin and you can do that. But if we're talking about replicating it across your entire lifestyle and consistently to tell a story, you're not going to be able to do it. So this is your invitation to worry far less about what everybody else is doing. Worry far less about what your friends are doing. Worry far less about what the women you see on Instagram are doing. Worry far less about what everyone else in your industry is doing, and worry far more about tuning into what makes you you and how do we bring that to life. The reason I started out this entire training saying we're not doing that YouTube style, everyone wants to dress the same way, one size fits all approach to fashion is because it would never be rooted in authenticity. You would never be able to have longevity in the style, in the messaging, in the story, if it was telling somebody else's story. Cannot be something that we do. We have 6 ingredients that bring the signature style to life. Obviously, from a time capacity standpoint, not going to be able to teach you all 6. We would be here until the end of the year. But I want you to know what they are. I want you to have like a macro view of understanding. Okay, how does Jennifer Aniston do that? How does Layla Hermosi do it? How does Diane Keaton do it? What would I need to be able to do in order to bring this to life? We have 6 ingredients. Have to be able to do all 6 of them. Cannot have a signature style if we can't do one of them. Jennifer Aniston doesn't get to eliminate one and have a signature style. She can do all 6 of them. So all 6 we need to be able to do. They work in a sequence following my arrows, meaning we work on number 1. We have to be able to bring it to life. We have to be able to solidify it, to actualize it before we move to number 2. 1 and 2, then we move to 3. We're never working on number 3. If we haven't mastered 1 and 2, we're never over at number 6 without doing 1 through 5. Never going to work like that. When I said rocky foundation, talk about a rocky foundation, that's exactly what I mean. So our first ingredient is messaging, and we're going to look at that today for you. Messaging is, what does the style say? What's the story we're telling? 1. 2. What does that story look like to you? You got a message, okay? What does it look like? That's our style blueprint. That's what we're going to be building at the end of our training. Master those 2 things. Move on to number 3, body. Have to be able to understand, if you want to feel like a powerhouse in your signature style, have to be able to fit the proportions of your body. Have to. You're never going to make a case to me that a woman is going to not understand how to fit her body and feel amazing in her clothes. You're never going to be able to make that case to me. Have to understand how to fit your body. But your signature style is not predicated on your body, which is a huge mistake a lot of women make. A lot of women make the mistake of saying, no, let's say it this way. Diane Keaton did not make the mistake of saying, I have a bust, no waist definition, no bum, no hips. Let me build a story. Let me build a style off of that. That was her body. She did not say, let me build a style off of that, which is what a lot of women do. I have this body, which means I'm excluded from that kind of style. Or I have this body, it means I have to have this kind of style. Absolutely not the case. Diane said, I've got my message. I know the story I want to tell to the world. I know what it looks like because I've decided on that. Let me adjust those 2 things to suit my body. Let me choose clothing that aligns with ingredients 1 and 2 that fits my body properly. She did that. That's what number 3 is. It's an adjustment ingredient. It's not a we build off of number 3. We don't build off of your body. Then we come to number 4. Number 4 is another adjustment ingredient. So the way I said about Jennifer Aniston, she could take her style here, there, and everywhere, and it's Jennifer Aniston. She didn't become Tracy Ellis Ross when she went to the Oscars. She still maintained the message and the look of the style. When we're at ingredient number 4, we're talking about your lifestyle. Your style has to be conducive to your lifestyle. For a lot of women, it's not. That's why they end up in analysis paralysis when they have to go do something formal or maybe they have a formal style and now they want to try to dress it down. They feel like I'm working from home or I'm doing all these casual things and I don't know how to have a style for that. I only know how to have style when I dress it up. Number four is an adjustment. We maintain the integrity of the style, but we adjust it for the lifestyle. Number five, existing wardrobe. By the time we've done those things, we come to the wardrobe, start to put outfits together. We want to put, as I said about that client going to DC, we want strong powerhouse outfits that make you feel amazing. We're working on this rather, at ingredient number five. And we are looking at, what do you own in the current closet that aligns with what we've built? And then where are the gaps in the current closet that need to be filled in? What do we need in order to bring this style that we built out to life? And what do we already have that satisfies the goal? And specifically, what do we need? Then and only then do we move to number six, which is shopping. Intentionally investing money into our wardrobe based on the gaps that we just listed in number five. Most women like to start at number six. They say, I don't feel great in my style right now. I haven't for a long time. Every time I go into the closet, it's just like, not excited by it. Let me go to the mall. Let me go online. Let me throw money at this problem. Let me start shopping. I haven't done 1 through 5, but that's okay. Let me go to the mall and throw money at this. I'm going to try to change this, improve this, see what I could do differently. But familiarity bias kicks in. Wouldn't you know it? I'm right back there buying more stuff that looks similar to what I already have because I did not do work on ingredient one and two, buying more stuff that looks very similar to what I already have, bring it home, put it into an already filled closet with clothes that aren't being worn, some of which have a price tag still hanging on them. Put it in there, maybe feel good for a week, 2 weeks, got an outfit, maybe this one feels better. Month goes by, I'm right back at where I started again, feeling like every time I go to the closet, don't have what I want because we were shopping before we did the work. So we want to be doing the work before we start shopping so that we're actually buying the things that we need. We're buying the things that fit the style that we're building, and we're not buying more of what we already have. We're going to start with ingredient number one. We'll look at one and we'll look at two. Then you'll be in a really good place. So number one is messaging. The message of the style is what tells your story. Anyone that you thought of when I said think of somebody who has a signature style, if you came up with somebody, that woman knows what her story is. Diane Keaton knew what her story was. She also knew what her story wasn't. And she did not deviate. She knew what her story was and she knew what it wasn't. Diane Keaton knew that her story was not Jennifer Aniston's story. She knew what her style was. She knew what her story rather. She knew what her story was. She knew what it wasn't. And she did not deviate. She was not polling the masses. She didn't say, guys, in the entertainment industry, what do you guys think that I should do? What is everybody doing as a leading actress right now? At the beginning of her career is when she solidified her story. She didn't say all the way back then, years ago, decades ago, she didn't say, let me ask everybody what they think I should do, and then let me do that. Let me acquiesce to what everybody else is doing or what everybody else says that somebody who looks like me, somebody at my age with my body, whatever it is, she did not say that. She said, this is the story I'm telling. It's nobody else's story but mine. And it's here. It's right here. I'm going to rise and tell this story and stay right here. I'm not going to deviate and come back down because you expect me to come back down. I'm not going to do something different because you're uncomfortable with me being here. I am going to be here intentionally, authentically. This is what I've decided. If you want to work with me, you're going to find me up here. If you want to do business with me, you're going to find me up here. If you want to interact with me, you're going to find me up here. That's not said from a value judgment. That's said from being totally and authentically yourself. When you make a decision within yourself to rise, when you make a decision within yourself to say, this is who I am, this is who I am, and this is the story I'm telling, you broadcast that story out into the world, and the world at large, simply being a very large mirror, reflects it back to you. You say, this is who I am, and I've decided who I am. I've risen to be here. I broadcast that message. I broadcast that story out into the world, and the world reflects it back to me, because the world at large is a mirror. So our work is to get super clear on eliminating what we think about what anyone else has to say, and getting really sure of, how do we rise for you? How do we tell a clear and intentional story for you? How do we tell an authentic story for you? The world is drawn like a magnet to authentic women. Men too, but the world is drawn like a magnet to authentic women. The world was drawn like a magnet to Diane Keaton because she never wavered. She said, this is who I am. Come up here if you want to work with me. I'm not deviating for decades. And that's it. We do all of this, we come up with all of this rather, in what is called a personal brand statement. The message of your style, or the message of your representation of self, is synonymous with your personal brand. Everybody, I would imagine, who is within Debbie's community understands what a personal brand is, because it's my understanding that everybody here has a business. Everybody is probably the face of their business. Everybody understands what I mean when I say a personal brand. Even if I was speaking to a group of women who were working for somebody else's company, or even if I was speaking to a group of women who were stay-at-home moms, they were not working. Everybody has a personal brand, because everyone is telling a story. You tell a story when you go to pick your kids up at school. You tell a story when you're out at the grocery store. Everyone is telling a story. So personal brand statement is what we use. In style, your personal brand statement, or I'm going to call it PBS because that's a very long thing to say. Your PBS is a description or the story of how you want the world to see you, based on, I should have bolded based on how you have already chosen to see yourself. The world saw Diane Keaton a certain way because she chose to see herself that way first. She did not poll the masses. She said, this is who I am, and the world will see me accordingly, because the world at large is a mirror. So your PBS is how the world will see you, based on how you've chosen to see yourself first. And this is what the PBS looks like. We have two sentences. We're going to fill them in. They will look different for the two sentences, will obviously look different for all of us. The PBS says, when people meet me, they experience me as somebody who is. I've got 3 blanks. You can put as many words as you want. I use style to help me express my message by choosing clothes that are, and then we describe the style. First sentence, most important work that we do in anything. The most important work we do is the work in the first sentence of the PBS. When people meet me, they experience me as what I've already decided I am. Your I am, I am. Your I am statement is the most powerful and potent language that you can use. It is the most powerful thing that you can say about yourself. I am what? I am who? Who do you say that you are? Your I am statement is your entire self-image. It's your entire self-concept. It is your I am statement is the mental internal blueprint. I said already, in a moment, we're going to work on the external physical blueprint, what the style looks like or what the clothing looks like. Your I am statement, I am what? Who do you say that you are? Your I am statement is the mental blueprint. And then in a moment, we make the physical blueprint, but first we look at the I am. The I am is a declarative statement that you make to the world. I am what? I am who? The power of language here. The power to say I am and speak up. or the power to say I am and speak down, which is unfortunately this reckless thing that a lot of people do, which is thinking that they could speak down to themselves, not recognizing that consciousness simply takes the shape of whatever you give it, always. You tell consciousness, I am, and you speak down. Consciousness says, you got it, boss. Eh, I'm your faithful servant. Whatever you say that you are, I will throw up onto that mirror, which we call reality, and reflect it back to you. So all reality is, it's a gigantic mirror showing you what you believe to be true. I am what? The power of language. If you have been throwing around language where you talk down to yourself, I'm not doing a very good job. People don't want to work with me. I'm not that great in my industry. I'm what kind of language? I'm not very good at riffing on negative language because I don't allow this anywhere near my own consciousness. I would never allow this near my students' consciousness because I know it's going to outpicture, so I don't want it anywhere. If you have been speaking down to yourself and wondering why, the mirror that we call reality is showing you more examples of speaking down to yourself becoming true. You're saying, I'm not doing a very good job. I don't really like this body. I am ashamed of this body, whatever you say. And then more situations and circumstances continue to produce themselves on the mirror we call reality in your life. You want to know why? This is it. And this is your invitation to change that. Who do you say that you are? What do you say that I am? I am what? When you decide I am this, I've made an intentional decision. I am this. I show the world this. Diane Keaton said, I am this. And the world follows in kind. So we begin to fill in that first sentence with what I call personality descriptors. I am descriptors, personality descriptors. I have a whole bunch here that I've just taken from my Unlock Your Signature Style students from their PBSs. There's so many more that we could use. So I've got these here just to spark creativity for you. Use whatever you feel called to use. How do you choose to describe your I am? How can you start to speak up to yourself, recognizing, write this down if you need to. Consciousness takes the shape of whatever you give it. Consciousness does not say, ever, are you sure you want to talk like that? Are you sure that's what you want me to show you? Are you sure that's what you want to speak into existence about your business? Are you sure? Are you sure, boss? Consciousness never says that. That's not the job of consciousness. Consciousness, as a faithful servant, says, you got it, boss. Your wish is my command. I will find more situations and more circumstances to prove that you are correct. This is your chance to speak up and give consciousness something more powerful to show you. Who do you say that you are? That's what you fill into the first sentence. You already decide. And then when people meet me, they experience me as this because I've already decided that I'm that. Sentence one. Sentence two, style descriptor. Here we're going to start to describe the style in a way that aligns for you. So you've chosen words in sentence number one. Now your work is to start to think about, what is the type of style that would make me feel like what I have written in sentence one? Which means that there's not what's the word I'm looking for? There's not a pinnacle or a set standard of a certain word correlating with another word. Meaning, uh, if you chose, let's say on the first line, serious and intentional, it doesn't correspond with classic and timeless. The decision is yours. Diane Keaton chose words for messaging. She said, I'm going to tell this story about being a serious woman and an intentional woman, but also an eccentric woman and a unique woman and an unforgettable woman. Those were words she chose for her messaging. And then she decided that a style that would help me bring those words or that feeling or that I am statement to life is going to be a style that's rooted in androgyny. It's rooted in menswear. It's rooted in tailoring, but it has elements of femininity to it. It's quirky and unique and it's memorable and it's different, but it's also sophisticated and elegant. She decided The style that I'm reaching for that will help me bring my I am statement or my personality statement to life is this style. This is how I would describe it. So let's go back here. See what you can come up with. Your style evolution, if you continue to work on your style, will go through a lot of different iterations of the PBS. So whatever you come up with is just what you come up with for right now, and just know this is going to change the deeper you go into doing this work. Yeah, but for right now, what feels good? When people meet me, they experience me as I use style to help me express my message by choosing clothes that are what? These are the types of clothes that would make me feel like a powerhouse. What are they? You fill that in. And then I want you to ask yourself, what would happen if you allowed your self image to undergo an intentional evolution? What would happen if you made an unequivocal decision right now to call yourself a powerhouse, to call yourself some of the words that you're playing around with right now, to call yourself successful, to call yourself, what would happen if you started to speak to yourself by saying, I am the best in my industry. I am the woman everybody wants to work with. I am the person who gets results for her students that are unheard of in her industry. I am the person people come to feel safe. I am the person students come to be vulnerable about around. Who do you say that you are? I am intelligent. I am smart. I am serious. I am intentional. What would happen if you decided unequivocally right now to start speaking to yourself, if you haven't been already, like that? Would that cause you to then act differently? That's a rhetorical question because I already know the answer is you would have to. If you started to tell yourself, I am a powerhouse, I am the very best in my industry, everybody wants to work with me. You have to actually be the best in your industry, of course. But if you start speaking it to yourself, so much so that consciousness is pushing you into that state and showing you more situations and circumstances that outpicture that state, more opportunities to become that person, would you act differently? Yes, you would. Would you take yourself more seriously? Would you take this work more seriously? Would you start showing more of yourself to the world? What would happen if you made an unequivocal decision right now to define yourself differently? Layla chose to, when we talked about that delineation in her career, Layla chose to define herself differently. And the entire trajectory of her personal brand shifted, did it not? She said, I choose to define myself as this, and everything in the personal brand shifted from there. Diane decided to build an entire career off a message that she rose to and never wavered from. And the world had to meet her there. Anyone who wanted to work with her had to meet her there because she did not budge. That is the power of a tool that is sitting on your table that you can pick up and cause change in today. Some of those other tools, they require more of what I call like a clocked hours, hours in the gym, repetitions. They require more of that. Being a good closer, it requires more of that. Making a decision right now to say, I am a powerhouse. There's a ripple effect that changes you immediately when you say that. So I do want you to start thinking about that. And then I want you to come up with what is the PBS that feels right for you right now where you are, knowing that your entire signature style will be based upon this. Everything that you do from here will be based on this. So it's very significant. Last thing we're going to do. Number 2, look at the style. I said a moment ago, we were looking at the internal mental blueprint. Now we're going to look at the physical, external physical style blueprint. The physical blueprint simply takes, if we understand consciousness taking the shape of something, the external physical blueprint takes the shape of what we just came up with right here. Your style blueprint is the visual representation of your style and the complete roadmap that brings the signature style to life. I always say to my students, if you have done your blueprint correctly, it's going to have the answer to every question you could possibly ask about your style forevermore. If it doesn't answer it, the blueprint's not done correctly. We got to go back to the drawing board, and that is okay. We use the style blueprint to train your eye. I'm pointing to my temple so I don't put my finger in my eye. We use the style blueprint to train your eye and understand what your style is comprised of. If we desire to change something in the style, whether you're not doing the Under Armour switch over, you're not doing, we did a complete overhaul of that wardrobe, got rid of everything and built from the ground up. Even if you're not doing that, but you desire to either change the style or improve the style, you have to see what it looks like. You will never, and I love you so much. This is going to sound like I'm saying something from judgment, and I'm not whatsoever. But a lot of women think this, so I have to be able to say it. You will never cause a change in your style if you do not see what that caused change looks like. You will never pull a brand new style out of your mind. You will never pull a brand new style out of thin air. Never. The neural pathway that is in your brain called style, called this is the way I dress for the last 10, 20 years, it goes up and down and it's very deep seated. The familiarity bias that you have around style that says, this is the way I dress, this is the way I dress, this is what I'm drawn to, these are the outfits I wear, these are the same kind of pieces I wear. Every time I go into Nordstrom, I walk right over to the same things and end up buying more the same. That's the neural pathway going up and down. That's your familiarity bias in action. In order to cause a change in the style, you have to see what the cause change will look like. If you don't see what the cause change looks like, your familiarity bias will always pull you back. That neural pathway, you try to go over here and you buy one thing that looks different. Remember, we talked about copying what somebody else is doing. You see someone else do something, you did it once, you're trying to pull the neural pathway this way. That familiarity bias pulls you right back onto the neural pathway. You end up right back where you started. You feel like I was trying to change something and boom, I'm right here again. In order to cause a change or an improvement in the style, you have to see what that caused change is going to look like. The only way you can do that is by looking at something. Style is visual. We could talk all day about words that describe style, or we can look at style and decide this is how I want to dress. This is how I want to represent myself. So if we want to intercept that familiarity bias and pull that neural pathway somewhere else with longevity, this is what we use the style blueprint for. I'm going to show you how to begin to build it out, and then we're going to be done. Step one, we do it all on Pinterest. Pinterest is very easy. Everybody who's listening to me knows how to use Pinterest. If you don't know how to use Pinterest, you can ask me when I see you on our live call. I would imagine everybody knows how to use Pinterest. So we are going to start with blank slate. Another one of those times I'm going to say, I love you so much. I love you so much. But whatever you have done before, any kind of Pinterest board you have made around style, I'm sure almost everybody listening to me has some kind of Pinterest board that they have made around style. I love you so much. It's not going to cut it for what we're doing. I said at the top of this masterclass, we learn in this Unlock Your Signature Style community at the very highest level in my industry, which means that anything that you have done before, again, I love you so much. It's so not going to cut it for where we are going. I do not care if Anna Wintour herself taught you how to build out a Pinterest board. We're starting fresh. I really have to underscore that because there's people who always try not to listen to me. I don't care what you have built before. You were not building off of an intentional message before. We're starting fresh. Brand new Pinterest board. We don't even actually call it a Pinterest board in my world. That's the last time I'm going to say that. We call it a style blueprint. So brand new style blueprint. You can see I've got a blank slate on my screen. You can call it signature style blueprint. You can call it whatever you want. Brand new. Step number one. Step number two, we obviously need to fill it. What are we filling it with? We're filling it with whatever we think encapsulates the PBS. So remember, it's not about looking at the PBS and then saying, okay, I chose that people would see me as a powerhouse because that's how I want to see myself. Let me type in powerhouse style into Pinterest and there's going to be one set style that comes up that aligns with that. It's not the case. So it's what encapsulates the PBS to you. This is where the work comes in. You need to go look and find what encapsulates the PBS to you. And only you're going to know the answer to that. So you're going to start to search through Pinterest. Things that you could search for to get you started would be the words that are in that second sentence of the PBS, the style descriptors. So let's say you put in, like we're seeing on my slide, a bohemian type of style. So let's say you chose bohemian as a style descriptor. You could put in bohemian style or bohemian outfits, casual bohemian style, bohemian office style. You play around with keywords, type it in, see what comes up. If something comes up that feels like it aligns with the PBS that you're going for, save it. If it feels like, that's not quite it, don't worry about it, keep moving. So first place to start might be using the style descriptor keywords that you already came up with, put them into Pinterest, see what comes up. If something comes up, great. If it doesn't, keep moving. Number 2, celebrities. Are there celebrities you know that have a style direction or convey a message, tell a story that feels in alignment with what you're going for? If yes, type them in, save ideas. Item specific. Are there certain things that you know, if I want to feel like a powerhouse, every time I put on XYZ, every time for me, if I have something like I need to go speak at something important and I need to feel like a powerhouse, the thing that will do it for me is always a blazer with a really strongly defined shoulder. Excellent tailoring. That will always do it for me. But for some people, my sister, for example, doesn't wear a blazer and doesn't own one. To my sister, putting that on would not feel like a powerhouse. It would feel like she's wearing a costume. So we're looking at what are things, item specific, that makes you feel the way that you want to feel. Not things that you think it should be this. Item specific things. Search it out that you know. When I put this on, it makes me feel the way I want to feel in accordance with my PBS. What is it? Collared shirts, types of pants, skirts, dresses, whatever it is, search it out, put them in. Blazer with jeans outfit, blazer if you're choosing mine. Blazer with jeans outfit, blazer with dress outfit. Like search different keywords, put it on. Other things that describe the style that you're going for. Color. Are there certain types of color that you know when I wear it, I feel amazing? Are you more, I gravitate towards neutrals. Do you gravitate towards neutrals? Put neutral outfit combinations and see what comes up, save it. Prints, anything that you can think of, and then push yourself. We are not asking you to maintain the neural pathway and the familiarity bias. We're not asking you to dig deeper into your familiarity bias. I'm asking you to push yourself. So don't build a blueprint that recreates what you're already doing. Build a blueprint that encapsulates where you're going. Where do you want to go? Step 3, cast a wide net. Wide net means you need a lot of ideas. I'm showing you USS students blueprint right here. You can see the number of ideas, 491. And I will be very honest, the student started at the time of me recording this or at the time of me saying this exactly 1 month ago, almost to the day. She has not done this blueprint. The size of this blueprint will probably come close to doubling, maybe not double. She's at 491, she'll probably end around 600. I'm not asking you to get to 600, but I am asking you to get volume. Why? A blueprint has to have volume. Why would it have to have volume? Most people, when they do a style Pinterest board, they put like 20 ideas onto a board and they wonder why it never helped them do anything. Why? What does volume do? Volume shows us themes. Volume shows us repetition. Volume shows us things that continue to show up. The more something continues to show up, the more by the time I get to ingredient number 5, I'm able to say this belongs in your wardrobe and this doesn't. If this student looks to her blueprint, she's going to see themes that continue to show up because she has so many ideas on there. If we look at 20 pictures on a Pinterest board and only one of them has a blazer on it, that's not very indicative of that style requiring a blazer as an essential key item in order to bring the style to life. So get your volume up. You do not need to be as high as this student is. She's been working on this really consistently for the last month, but you're going to need more than 10 ideas. I will let you know right now that probably when I see you, it's something I say to students every single week when I see them. They have to listen to me say it all the time. It probably gets a little annoying for them every time I'm telling them your volume still needs to be higher. When I see you on our live call, I'm probably going to say that to you. You're just going to know that in advance. Get your volume up. If we want to train the neural pathway to see something different, we want to drive you somewhere else. Next time you go to Nordstrom or wherever else you're going, we don't want you to go straight back to where you always go. The mind needs, remember, changed style requires changed seeing something else. Next time you go to Nordstrom, you've seen on your blueprint 50 examples of different ways of wearing a blazer. You were never looking at it before. All of a sudden, you go into Nordstrom, the neural pathway notices it. Now it doesn't, familiarity bias doesn't block it out. Make sense? I'm trying to go fast because I didn't want to keep you past an hour, and we're already past an hour. Step number 4, pay attention to cohesion. Remember, it's one story of one woman, one cohesive, identifiable look, one story, one woman. When you look at your blueprint, are you telling the story of one woman, or are you telling, like I'm looking at a blueprint right here, this is the story of one woman. Are you telling a story of one woman, or are you telling a story of 30 women? Look at this one, completely different style type combination. One was rooted in more femininity, one is rooted in androgyny, edge and androgyny. One woman wears all of this. This is one story, one cohesive, identifiable look that tells one story of one woman. Do you see it? Cohesion. Let's look at a few more. I only have one more, not a few. One more. One cohesive, identifiable look. I always explain this to my students when I'm trying to get them to really clarify the cohesion on their blueprint. I explain this as what I call the TV character exercise. If we think of a TV character on a show, or even a character in a movie, but let's think of a character in a TV show, and there's tons of episodes. The character all the way across has to tell a cohesive story, not just in style. The character has to be cohesive from episode to episode. They have the same body language. They have the same mannerisms. They speak with the same kind of language, and they dress in a similar fashion. They don't wear the same thing in every episode, but they're always the same character. In the beginning of my career, I did a lot of costume design, and cohesion was so important to tell a story. Cohesion is so important for you. Example I love is Olivia Pope from Scandal. Not just because the costume design was so like that, the costume design in that show is so beautiful for what they did for Olivia, but leave that aside and think about the cohesion. We see Olivia in the White House, and we see her in her office, and we see her out in the world doing crazy stuff, and we see her in her apartment, and she's drinking red wine and eating popcorn, and she tells one very clear story throughout. When we look at your blueprint, and even if there's different lifestyle factors that we have to accommodate for, do you see one story in the same way as you're looking at my slide right here? Do we see one same color story? Do we see one same fit story? Do we see one story around signature pieces, like key pieces? One story about key pieces. Do we see one story about signature outfits? Of course, I'm giving you more to think about than you know necessarily what it means right now, but you're very smart, and I want you to be able to have something that you can take action on. Do we see one story here? Do we see the story of multiple women? If we see the story of multiple women, it's okay, but we still have some work to do. Once you feel like you're in a really good spot with the blueprint, understanding that, of course, I've given you a lot of work. I've given you work that for a USS student would take, to be very honest, probably a month. So I've given you work that would take a month. You're not going to do as in-depth of a process as I've showed you here. You're not going to split your blueprint if we go back. If this confused you, you're not going to split your blueprint up into sections. I didn't talk about this. You do not need to do this. You're just going to save everything in one spot. You do not need to worry about that. But you're going to start to put a dent in it. And then you're going to step back. And you're going to look at it and you're going to say, if you saw somebody out in the world wearing this, or you're going to ask yourself rather, not say, if you saw somebody wearing this, what would you think? Everything that's on your blueprint, you see somebody out in the world, you see her pass by you every day on the way to work. What do you think? What does she elicit from you? Do you feel like, oh my God, I have to know that woman's secret? Where does she shop? How does she come up with those outfits? Does it elicit a feeling like that from you? If it elicits a tepid feeling, like you're just kind of neutral about it, then the blueprint probably needs more work. Next thing you're going to ask yourself, if these clothes are in my closet right now, this is what I ask a client. For my clients, I do the blueprint for them before we move on to shopping. Blueprint has to be done. I send it to them and I ask them, if we had all these clothes in your closet right now and you understood how they all fit you and we could get them all and you knew how to style everything, if all of these clothes are in your closet right now, would you feel more excited to participate in your life? Would you feel more excited to show up in your life, to go to work, to meet your clients, to make videos on Instagram? Would you feel more excited? The work here is not just about cute outfits. It's supposed to be supporting you in your everyday life, supporting you to show up in your life. It's supposed to motivate you. I always tell my students, motivation is the byproduct of a compelling vision. The blueprint should be a compelling vision, so much so that when you look at it, you feel like, well, I'm motivated to act on my style. I'm excited to think about my representation of self. I'm no longer being the woman who's wearing the Under Armour clothes because I thought that was all I could do, but now I recognize, oh, there's way more that I could do, and I'm excited by it, and I'm excited to take action on it. Does it elicit that feeling? If it doesn't, go back and make some improvements. Is it authentic, or does it feel like a costume? Does it push you? That's the last question. Does it push you? Like, it should definitely push you, but it has to still feel rooted in who you are. It doesn't feel like a costume, like what I said about my sister. If I was filling out a blueprint for my sister and I put one with suiting, pantsuit, and blazers for her, that would feel like a costume for her. She's never going to wear it. She's not going to show, if we're talking about influencing the way you operate in the world, she's not going to operate from a place of power like that. She's going to be feeling like she's wearing a costume or something, and she's going to be aware of it all day long. Does it feel authentic to who you are while still pushing you? I'm not asking you to stay where you've currently been. I'm asking you to push beyond. That's your checklist. Between now and when I see you at the retreat, you are going to write your PBS and you are going to begin working on your blueprint, recognizing you're not going to have it as involved as what I've shown you, but you are going to put a dent into it. And then when I see you on the call, I am not teaching anything on the call. We are doing questions and we are looking at blueprints, which means I highly encourage you. I say to my students all the time, I'm going to say the exact same thing that I say to them, and then we're going to wrap. I cannot help you if you do not ask me. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know what kind of help you need. Take advantage of the opportunity that is right in front of you. Debbie has given it to you here by us having a live session together. Do not be the student who comes to something like that and doesn't ask questions. Be the student, the woman who takes the work seriously, so much so that she causes an insane amount of change within her life, is the woman who goes through a training. I always tell my students, she's also the woman who comes to calls, who is never missing, who is on time, who is posting in the group, who is asking questions, who is showing her outfits, who is asking for feedback. Even if we can't do all of those things inside of our call, you are going to be the woman who goes through a training like this, writes down questions and brings them to the call. Doesn't just sit there with no questions. Ask questions. And then you are going to be the woman who does the blueprint ahead of time, does as much work as you can, and then sends it to me prior to the call. I'm going to be able to, as I do on all my calls, bring everybody's blueprint up ahead of time. So I'm asking for blueprints no later than 24 hours prior to the start of the retreat. Email me. My email address is right there. Email me the link to your blueprint. I will bring up everyone who sends me their blueprint. I will bring up everybody's blueprint before I come live onto that call. The moment we start, we move right into it. I'm not teaching you anything. We'll bring up blueprints. We can talk one-to-one. You can tell me what your PBS is. You could tell me what kind of work that you do. You could tell me what you think about the blueprint, where you feel like you might not be able to bring it to life. The other reason I want it 24 hours ahead of time is I want to be able to look at it and then take a couple notes down about what I see. Cohesion is off here. I think we might be missing a couple things I don't know you, but this is what I might think. We can talk about all of that. You can ask me, what do you think I'm missing? How do I adjust this for my lifestyle? We'll have a conversation around it. So be the student who takes your own work, not for me. Be the student who takes your work seriously so that you can cause a serious change in your life. All right. That is it, my beautiful friend. We are at the very end. I wanted to do an hour. We are at an hour and 15. I think it was worth it. I hope it was. I love you so much. I cannot wait to meet you on our call. We're going to have an amazing time together, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with.